Good day, everyone, especially to our ethics instructor, Mr. Jason Lofranco. By the way, I am Shalame F. Ivardo. My topic is under Lesson 2, Saint Thomas Aquinas in the context of Christian story. So, who is Saint Thomas Aquinas? So, Saint Thomas Aquinas was born in 1225 and died on 1274. So he was a prominent theologian and philosopher of the medieval period. He was also a member of Dominican order. It is a religious order within the Catholic Church. He is best known for his synthesis of Christian theology with the philosophy of Aristotle, which became known as Thomism. So what is Thomism? Thomism is a physiological and theological school of thought based on the teachings of Aquinas. So that school emphasized the use of reason and natural theory to natural theology to understand the nature of God, the universe, and humanity. It holds the faith and reason for compatible and complementary or tandem, and that human beings can come to knowledge of God both revelation and philosophical inquiry. Also emphasizes the natural law or human inherent universal moral law in human nature and all accessible to all people regardless of religious belief. Next is he had also the most famous work. So, siya si Summa Theologica. So, it is a comprehensive or summary treatise on theology and philosophy that explores various aspects of Christian doctrine, ethics, and metaphysics. So, sa man si Christian doctrine, so man siya ang Bible nato. And unsa man si metaphysics. So metaphysics, it is a branch of philosophy that explores fundamental questions about the nature of reality. So it is the distinction between essence and existence. So essence, so man siya ang mga nature nato, mga beliefs nato in nature, and existence is the actual reality. Next is nasa other work na titled Summa Contra Gentilis. So it is most significant work of Aquinas, where philosophical and theological treatise aimed at non-Christian or what siyang mga Muslim and Jews to provide arguments for the truth of the Christian faith. Next is si Saint Thomas Aquinas was canonized or declared ni siya as saint by the Catholic Church in the year 1323 and considered one of the greatest theologian and philosophers. So, ito akong topic. Thank you.
Hello, good day everyone. I'm Nathaniel James Oxtero, BSA Black 2. This is our report, the context of Christian story. The fundamental truth maintained and elaborated by Aquinas in all his work is the premise right at the center of the Christian faith, that we are created by God in order to ultimately return to Him. The structure of his magnum opus Summa Theologiae follows the trajectory of this story. There are three parts of this voluminous work. In the first part, Aquinas speaks of God, and although we acknowledge that our limited human intellect cannot fully grasp Him, we nevertheless are able to say something concerning his goodness, his might, and his creative power. For this topic, the Christian story revolves around Jesus Christ, believed to be the Son of God and Savior of humanity. It begins with prophecies in the Old Testament, unfolds in the New Testament, and includes his birth, ministry, crucifixion, and resurrection. Jesus' teachings, including love, forgiveness, and compassion, guide to believers. So, mao ta akong report kanang ang kaning usa ka kuan ka Joseph Licar ang continue ani. Salamat.
So, good day, sir. I'm Joseph Licar to refill base A for Block 2. So, ang akong report kay continuation ra sa Nathaniel nga the context of Christian story. So, recognizing then that we are created by God, we move to the second part which deals with man or the dynamic of human life. This is characterized by our pursuit of happiness, which we should realize rests ultimately not on any particular good things but created by God in the highest good which is God Himself. Our striving for this ultimate happiness, while important, will not itself bring us to this blessed state. In other words, salvation is only possible through presence of God's grace. That grace has been become perfectly incarnate in the person of Jesus. This the third part focuses on Jesus our Savior. So sa laing pagkasulti, ang kulawasan daw posible ra pinaagi sa presensya sa grasya sa Dios ug kana nga grasya nahimong hingpit nga nagpakatawo sa persona ni Hesus. Kini ang ikatulong bahin nga nagputning kang Hesus isip atong manluluwas. So that's all for our report, sir. Thank you.
Given that our concern here is the question of ethics, it would seem clear that what would be of greatest interest to us in the second part section of the story that centers of human life and perhaps striving towards God. However, bringing up the notion that living the good life led us to God could easily be misunderstood as a simple exhortation to obey certain rules as given to us in church doctrine or to follow certain passages lifted at random from sacred scriptures. In other words, we may fall into the danger of the divine commentary, which we had explored in the first unit of this book. Instead, we should hope to find that there is much greater complexibility but also coherence, the ethics of Aquinas.
Good day, everyone, especially to our instructor in ethics, Sir Jason Lapranco. Good day, sir. I'm Marlene D. Howe, and my topic is under the lesson 2, which is the context of Aquinas ethics. Okay. The purpose of Aquinas ethic is to place Thomas Aquinas' moral theory. It is full philosophical and theological context and to do so in a way that makes Aquinas readily accessible to students and interested general readers, including the encountering Aquinas for the first time. So, studies of Aquinas naturally focus on a certain areas, which is his thought and tend to assume a general knowledge of the whole. Aquinas' ethic takes the opposite approach. It intentionally links the metaphysics and anthropology to his action theory and ethics to illuminate how the moral theory is built on foundation leads elsewhere. The authors emphasize the integration of concepts of virtue, natural law, and divine grace within Aquinas' ethics rather than treating such as topics in isolation of opposition. Their approach, presented in clear and deliberately non-specialist language, reveals the coherent nature of Aquinas' account of the moral life and what to fulfills as human being. So Aquinas' ethics is an excellent contribution to the literature on Aquinas and providing an integrated and robust account to the relationship between metaphysics and human nature, natural law, theory, and virtue. Theory showing this intrinsicable connection, it is very much like the work of St. Thomas himself. So, the author emphasized the virtue and natural or batas something nga katong divine grace, Aquinas ethics. So instead nga himuon ni Aquinas nga magkasalungat ang paksa, iyang gipakita didto sa iyang approach, it is presented clear and non-specialist language, which is gipakita niya nga related ang katangian ug ang iyang salaysay ni Aquinas about moral life and og unsay mo fulfill as a human being. So a full consideration of Aquinas' ethics would require us to explore his discussion and other matters such as how our pursuit happiness we direct our action towards specific ends. So, the whole consideration kuno kay nagkinahanglan og mismo kitay mo explore tuklas to nato his discussion of other matters such as unsa una to pagkabot sa tinuod nga kalipay. So kita mismo daw ang nagtudlo sa atong action paingon sa ato ang specific nga mga layunin. So, we might explore how emotions, the fashions are involved in this process and therefore require a proper order if they are properly contribute to a good life. So by the context of Aquinas ethics, we might explore how our emotions, fashions are involved in this process and require nga proper pagkasunod-sunod and require nga ganahan ta nga mapabuti or mapaayos ang contribution sa ato ang which is nindot ang atong kinabuhi. So, we might explore also how our action related certain disposition often referred to habits in a dynamic way of our action both arise from our habits at the same time reinforce them. So, by actions nato are related to our certain dispositions, we might kasagaran nato referred siya sa mga lihok nga mao'y hinungdan nga ang atong action atong buhat nagagikan sa ato ang habits. At the same time pod mao'y nakapalig-on nato. And then we might explore his discussion of how we develop its either good or bad habits with a good disposition leading us toward making immoral choices, thereby contributing to our moral life and bad disposition inclining us toward making immoral choices, bringing us to vice. So, pwede natong matuklasan o mahibaw-an bahis makaayo ba ni nato or makapasama nga mga habit that lead us para mobuhat ta og mga moral choices sa atong kinabuhi nga maopoy naghatag sa contribution to our moral nga good side or bad disposition nga maoy mag-push nato para maghimo sa immoral choices nga maoy makapagpadala nato nga mobuhat na hinuunta sa mga bisyo. And that's all my topic and thank you.
So, good day everyone. I'm Mecca Fuentes. Kaning ako ang topic is continuation ra ni sa ka Marlene Howe. The Christian life, it is about developing the capacities given to us by God into a disposition of virtue, inclined toward the good. Aquinas also puts forward that there is within us a conscience that directs our moral thinking. This does not refer to some simple intuition or gut feeling. For Aquinas, there is a sense of right and wrong in us that we are obliged to obey. However, he also adds that this sense of right and wrong must be informed, guided, and ultimately grounded in an object basis for morality.
So we are called to hear the voice of conscience and enjoyed to develop and maintain a life of virtue. However, this both required content, so we need something more. We need a basis for our conscience to be properly informed, and we need a clearer guidepost on whether certain decisions we make lead us toward virtue or vice. Being told that one should heed one's conscience or that one should try to be virtuous does very little to guide people as to what specifically should be done in a given situation. Thus, there is a need for a clearer basis of ethics, a grounding that will more concretely direct our sense of what is right and wrong. For Aquinas, this would be the natural law. So, mo to siya no, ang Aquinas, mo na ang iyang natural law nga kinahanglan nga direct ang ato ang decisions ug mangita mo ta og kanang klaro nga legal basis nga sakto ba na siya og sayop mo na siyang kuan natural law sa Aquinas. We can recall how the ethical approach called the divine command theory urges one toward an unthinking obedience to religious precepts. Given the problems of this simplistic approach to ethics, we can contrast how the moral theory and Aquinas requires the judicious use of reason. In doing so, one's sense of right and wrong would be grounded on something stable, human nature itself.